Hi, everyone. This is Sonia Lal. Welcome to the interview series, Your Child's Best Future. How to get your child into a top college and set for a happy, successful life. We're doing this interview series to learn from experts who can bring clarity to the college admissions process for high school students and their parents. Today, we're excited to have Amy Edelstein with us. Amy is an educator, author, and public speaker on ideas and beliefs that can help us transform ourselves and the culture we live in. Amy is founder of the Inner Strength Foundation and co-founder of Emergence Education, which develops transformative educational programming for adults. A Cornell University College Scholar, Amy has 30 years' experience of contemplative practice, including a background in both Western and Eastern spiritual traditions, as well as in evolutionary spirituality. In recognition of her 27 years of in-depth work on human transformational models, Amy was named Wisdom Chair of Evolutionary Spirituality by the Interfaith Organization OUNI. Amy is author of several books, including Great Awakening, Radical Visions of Spiritual Love and Evolution, Love, Marriage, and Evolution, New Perspectives on the Art of Relationship, and the in-depth training manual for the ISF Teen Program. Amy, thank you so much for joining us today. Tell us a little bit about the Inner Strength Foundation and how you founded that.
The Inner Strength Foundation and its flagship 3-month teen program is a program that I designed to help inner city and also suburban high school students deal with the challenges and stress of high school, the last 2 years of high school specifically. What I wanted to do is to support young people, not just to be able to focus and let go of negative thoughts and ruminations and be able to experience some ease and peace and ability to sleep and decrease in anxiety. I wanted to give adolescents and primarily juniors and seniors in high school a new view and perspective and way to think about themselves and the world around them. The way I do this is I teach them how to look at their own personal experience in a context of development. So we look at 300 million years of brain development. What does that mean about what we're experiencing now? How does that influence our reactions and responses? We look at also 800 years of cultural development and how do the shifts in personal freedoms change the way we relate to the world around us? How does this increase in creativity, innovation, self-authorship, self-agency, work together with the decrease in supportive social structures, which creates both an incredible possibility and a sense that there is a lack of fundamental support and guidance. And as we look at this and unpack this, what students discover is that their personal sense of being excited, having very creative and individual goals and aspirations, coupled with a sense of being a little bit at sea and not knowing where to look to for guidance and support, is not just a personal issue, it's a cultural phenomena, and it's the result of growth and development. So therefore, their generation now becomes the ones to build in new social structures, new social supports at a level that supports our individual freedom. Now that sounds a little complex, but my personal experience and belief is that adolescents are more than ready to engage with this type of systemic thinking, and that it provides an interesting orientation on things that often seem overwhelming. And once students become interested in something, then it shifts their experience from being overwhelmed to being curious. And once they become curious, they're able to find ways through. And this is very supportive, quite practically, for students who are dealing with a changing job market, competitive, hyper-competitive application for limited financial aid, limited availability at the best universities, and they're really often overburdened by issues that can shadow their very creative and curious adolescent years.
Interesting. So what does that practically mean? Like, you have a 12-week program, is that right?
That's correct. It's a 12-week program, and it works sort of an hour a week, and students learn first about 6 weeks worth of mindfulness, evidence-based stress reduction techniques. They are secular techniques, although they are time-honored, and they've been explored for over 2,000 years. So they do work. And we work with those tools in the classroom so that it becomes part of the school experience, integrated into the school experience, and students then are able to download some of these practices and work with them on their own. They're very simple. They don't require any extra props. They don't require any digital apparatus. We use awareness, breath, the noises in the surroundings, mindfulness of eating and drinking, mindfulness of walking. So they're really basic tools and techniques that students are able to work with throughout their day without needing to step away from their environment, without needing a special space, without needing to draw attention to themselves. And in that way, it becomes really useful and practical for students who often feel like they don't even have the time to get away to relax.
Okay, that's very interesting. So it's something that the student can do at any time. Like you said, they don't have to leave their desk or go somewhere special to do this.
That's right.
Very powerful. And so you said 6 weeks you spend on learning mindfulness, and then what do you do for the other 6 weeks?
The other, just to add one part, as the students are learning techniques, they're also learning about how to, what I call, disembed themselves from thought. So they learn how to relate to thought as something that arises and passes away in their mind's eye, not necessarily something that defines them as who they are. And this is really important because more and more of our teens are experiencing, a degree of self-criticism that can lead to, an erosion of self-esteem and an erosion of their capacities to excel and to reach their potential. So this is a really important part of that goes with the techniques, is an understanding of the nature of thought. The other 6 weeks are devoted to understanding of the brain's development, from the different parts of our brain, the reptilian brain, the survival instinct, and also talking about the specific periods of brain growth, because what happens in a child's brain and in an adolescent's brain and in an adult's brain are very different things. And the period of adolescent brain growth is a really important period that needs to be honored and respected, because we can't skip stages of development. Some of the things that are happening physiologically in an adolescent's brain does inspire them to take risks and to bond with their peers rather than listen to adults. And there are reasons for this that we can trace back to our early cave person history about why it would be important for teens to take risks and learn skills and learn to develop. So as the students develop an understanding and respect for what's happening in this period of brain growth, they also learn how to weave in important safety mechanisms. So they understand how their brain's working. They can take constructive risks, creative risks, innovative risks, and also understand the dangers of the way the adolescent brain can entice a teen to do things that are dangerous. The final part of the course is we look at cultural development, we look at the freedoms in postmodernity, we look at the challenges of postmodernity and the advantages, and we talk about what's next. Running through this also, I weave in a strong emphasis on the art and science of relatedness. How do we make friends? How do we lose friends? What are the obstacles to friendship? Again, a lot of teens experience a tremendous amount of stress, and social media has exacerbated that to some degree, where teens feel often fearful of and insecure around their friendships. And part of understanding how to read their own emotions and others' emotions, and how to take 5 and pause before responding, before writing that mean post back on Facebook, is a really important tool for these students.
Wow, that's really interesting. So you actually have them understand their own brain development and the opportunities and the dangers associated with that. And then
always the best and most animated classes. The kids they love it. And it's a delight to teach it, yeah.
Oh, that's interesting, yeah. I remember when I was a Waldorf teacher, we read a book called Thinking with the Brain in Mind, or I think it's called actually Teaching with the Brain in Mind, but we studied brain development of children and adolescents. And yeah, it's definitely very different, including sleep patterns and all kinds of things. So that's really interesting that the students find that fascinating to study.
It's empowering, and teens really like to know how they work. They're exploring themselves, they're discovering themselves, they're growing into their own person, and getting an inside view on what's moving them and why they sometimes react in ways that they don't understand is so grounding. It's so helpful, and it creates a sense of curiosity and wonder and interest in what otherwise can turn into rocky seas for them.
Definitely. Very interesting. So, Amy, I understand that you are going to take us on a mindfulness journey now.
That's right. So we'll do a short mindfulness exercise, and what I want to do is I want to take everyone through a simple breath meditation that turns into an open awareness meditation. And these are 2 different techniques that you can separate, or you can work with them together. Some people respond better to one than to the other. In this way, your listeners will be able to draw on either of them. So I'll ask your listeners to sit in a comfortable position with your spine erect and your head floating at the top of your neck. You can close your eyes, you may cover your eyes with your hands, or you can leave your eyes open. If you do want to leave your eyes open, just have them rest on the floor 5 or 6 feet in front of you. Take your attention away from a computer screen or a phone. Now I want you to rest one hand on your upper lungs and one hand on your abdomen. It doesn't matter if the right hand or the left hand is on top. One of them will be more comfortable than the other. And now allow yourself to sit back in yourself. Let everything that's happened in your day up until now fall away. And have this sense of sitting back in an easy chair inside yourself. Put your attention on your inhalation and exhalation. You may notice the air going in and out of your nose, or the rise and fall of your abdomen or chest. No need to control your breathing, to speed it up or slow it down. Simply put your attention on your breath. As thoughts come and go, allow them to pass, turning your attention back to the very basic movement of inhalation and exhalation. And now allow your attention to expand, no longer watching your breath. And imagine that you're lying on your back, looking up at the night sky. Instead of focusing on the stars, focus on the blackness behind the stars. And allow your attention to become interested in the blackness, in the space. See how far it extends, how it extends infinitely in all directions, unaffected by any of the objects, the stars, the satellites, the meteors that cross its way. And now you can bring your attention back. You can wiggle your fingers and your toes, and we can finish the exercise. So the metaphor of the black sky, the night sky, and the stars is a metaphor for the field of awareness and the objects of perception. So the objects of perception being our thoughts, our feelings, what we sense, hear, taste, see. And by practicing that type of open awareness, we can learn to have a little bit of space from the thoughts that are usually too close to us and oppress us with their demanding, repetitive, and often negative, critical nature. So open awareness allows us to explore the fact of being aware, not just what we are aware of.
Thank you. That was very relaxing.
Mm-hmm.
This is something that any student can do, even parents can do this, I believe.
Yeah. It can, the images and metaphors can be modified. The technique of watching the breath with one hand on the abdomen and one hand on the heart is an interesting one. Basically, more recently, they've discovered that we, in fact, do have a neural network around our gut and a neural network around our heart, and that neural network it has many similarities in construction, but in a more simple way than our brain does. So the old sayings, "Oh, I felt it in my gut," or "my heart knew," is not entirely without scientific physiological basis. And by gently placing a hand on your stomach and a hand on your heart while focusing on the breath can bring those three neural networks in alignment, our cognitive network and the neural network around our heart and around our gut. The more primitive, simple neural networks are the ones that our brains register first before the cognitive ones. And so they're designed also to, in more simple species to help signal safety or danger and things like that. So we do really have this kind of innate sensing system in us. And when we feel confused, distracted, unable to focus, overwhelmed, angry, frightened, anxious, watching the breath with a hand on the stomach and a hand, above the heart area around your lungs can create a sense of coherence and a sense of inner stability. So it's a really good thing to practice, and it's also a good thing to use before tests, before studying, before papers, or at moments where it's just difficult to concentrate. And a little bit of alignment can help with focus.
Yeah, that was really wonderful, actually. I've done the one before where you put your hand on your heart, and I've always felt, the relaxation in that, but I could feel putting it on my abdomen. That was also very helpful. So, Amy, do you recommend any kind of visualization exercises for students? I mean, you just mentioned that this exercise that we just did is something that can help students relax before test or before doing homework. Do you also recommend any visualization of any kind?
I'd be happy to lead everyone in a short visualization, which is nice if it's expanded out. And this one is really good for athletes after they work out. It can really help with rejuvenation and also help minimize injury in an interesting way. It's good to use with injury to help create ease around pain, and it's also really good to help students fall asleep. A lot of young people tell me that they have a lot of trouble falling asleep, and part of it is, the effect of watching screens too late into the night, and the light from that does keep us awake. And there are some light adjusters for the type of light that comes through your computers, and I would strongly recommend for all the students and parents to download those. They really do make a difference for sleep. But this visualization is a nice one, and I just want to say for your listeners, please take this visualization very much metaphorically. We're not trying to move energy, create light. If I use a metaphor that you don't resonate with, that's fine. You can simply change it to something that you feel more comfortable with. There's nothing sacrosanct about any of the images I use. They're just good metaphors. So why don't we do a short body scan meditation?
Okay.
And for your listeners, it's nice if this takes 15 or 20 minutes. So we'll just do a couple short minutes so we can speak a little bit more at the end. But know that what I'm giving you is a taste of what you can use in your own imagination and expand it out so that you're able to really fall asleep with it. When I talk, one last instruction is when I talk about inhalation and exhalation, you're going to be breathing throughout, but of course I can't give you instructions and cues as quickly as you breathe. So just breathe normally, but as I give you these guidances, you can weave them into the inhalation and the exhalation.
Yes, thank you.
So sit up. If you're seated, sit up straight, but relaxed. And if you're lying down, lie with your back flat on the floor or the bed, and with your feet straight, your legs uncrossed, and your arms by your side. And on your next inhalation, imagine that you're inhaling through the crown of your head, inhaling white light, and allow that light to pour into your head, bathing your brain, with soft and clear luminescence. And this time when you inhale and pour that freshly oxygenated light all across the outside of your head, washing away stress, fatigue, tension, and staleness. Keep inhaling light into your head, feeling your eyes become refreshed, the muscles of your cheeks, your tongue, your mouth, your chin. And allow your head, inside and out, to be cleansed and refreshed as you inhale light and exhale out all of the staleness so that it flows out of your body, out of your feet, and gets absorbed in the ground below. Continue to fill every pocket and all the cells with refreshing and rejuvenating light, exhaling out staleness, dullness, and fatigue. And take one last breath. And as you exhale that breath, just bring your attention to your head, to the area that you've cleansed and filled with refreshing and relaxing light. And then allow yourself to bring your attention back, and we can finish the meditation.
Thank you, Amy. That was wonderful.
So you can see how it could easily take 20 minutes to go through the entire body, from the head all the way down to the feet, inside and out with the organs and the spine, and or you can also go from your feet all the way up to your head.
Wonderful. Now, I understand that you have some of these, do you have some of these guided meditations on the Inner Strength Foundation website?
I do, and your listeners can go to innerstrengthfoundation.net, and you can find information, guided meditations for teens, under a tab that says Teens. I also do open Q&A about mindfulness and practices, which is free and open to the public. There is a separate one for parents, a separate one for educators, and a separate one for teens, which you can also register for. And they're roughly every month or every 2 months. And you can find that on innerstrengthfoundation.net. And of course, if teachers or principals are interested in bringing this program to their schools, they can find more information about that on the site as well.
Wonderful. Amy, do you have any last pieces of advice for teenagers or their parents as they go through their high school years?
I think my biggest piece of advice for both teenagers and parents is to really make life count and know that we never really know how the future is going to unfold, the heights we're going to be able to reach, and the simple things in life that are going to provide the most important signs for us along the way. So enjoy in the deepest sense of the word. Really appreciate adolescence, appreciate that time, and know that the inordinate stress is not necessarily what's going to be the biggest indicator or the biggest support for achievement, but a full heart is certainly, and a purpose is really going to help the most. So I encourage parents and teens to leave space for a little bit of mystery and a little bit of the unknown, and in that, a lot of room for delight.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much, Amy. It's been really amazing having you on the interview today. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for all you're doing for teens. It's a big help.